Welcome everyone to a quick update. Last night I made a live stream and negatively commented Apple's self-repair program because it was in the press on Mac rumors earlier, which is I had this already on the radar to live stream eventually. But as it was on The Verge, I felt last night like to finally comment that. And actually, I have to say those articles tricked me. So it's turned out this huge scandal of they ship a 79 pound or aka sane unit 35 kilogram and 1,200 or so dollars, over $1,000 credit card authorized and blocked in case you don't return it in 7 days repair toolkit is not necessary. So the articles make it presented so as if this crazy tools, yes, I commented, I unlisted the video. If you're subscribed and stuff, you can still watch it, but it's not like listed. So this kind of tools, which I say is totally crazy to just swap a freaky display, right? Unlike everyone with a suction cup and a little bit warming and stuff. So I still say this machinery, sure, Apple's own repair people, certainly if you do this on scale, nice tools to work with, but shipping that to each and every one DIY user at home is overkill and unnecessary. And as I yesterday said at the end of last live stream, I said Apple not only wants to deter users from actually attempting a DIY repair, but also uses it certainly in presentations like to politicians like, hey look, this is all the stuff that needed. It's totally unreasonable that users, for the safety of the children and stuff, do this explosive battery stuff at home. And because these are all the tools you need for like a safe repair. And the crazy thing is some people on Twitter, even some people that like this, even some people in the open source community that I otherwise highly respect, for example, they even argue, hey, this is fine, which I find crazy. But I correct my last night's video summary, and that is certainly important to point out because it is not visible, or it's not immediately visible from this article that these tools are optional. Because they tricked me, especially the Verge one, especially the Mac Rumors one. The Mac Rumors one, I think, did not mention at least, and this is the thing, right? I cross-read it now twice. They also, yeah, the title, like this is not The Verge. This is Mac Rumors of Mac fans and their friends and family, and their own videographer apparently, and so I wanted to try it out. This is how it is, manuals and stuff, curious and try it out, compare and simplicity brings the product, yada yada yada. And never done a repair, perfect representation, average customer, start also ordering the kit and components, yada yada, something. And yeah, you have 1,300. And if you read this, maybe they mentioned somewhere in the fine print in The Verge, they mentioned this, that this is optional in this brackets, which I really find dishonest with. And also The Verge runs this 3 weeks after Mac Rumors, when everyone could have done their research. I mean, I did not do my research. Shame on me, I should have researched that more. But I can't also use it because it's right now US only, right? I opened this now, oops, this is not that, here. And so this is how it looks. And I have some further comments though. So yeah, this here is recommended, this bundle here. So you can even order some screws and stuff in single quantities. And it looks also, yesterday I said you can't keep this stuff. So it looks to me that you can order this stuff to keep potentially. I mean, at $8 a pop and stuff for the bit, which is not the cheapest, but okay. I mean, certainly this torque driver is certainly, I mean, maybe you get this from VR for like maybe 50 or so, but the price is still okayish. It's not rental. I don't see like a tech rental, so I would guess I can keep the screwdriver if I order it for $80, I guess. And you can even, crazy enough, you can even order this stuff to keep, I guess, if you order, like if you do that regularly and you would want this press. I mean, that is, at least it doesn't show rental here right now. The problem is I got even the seating stuff and display press and stuff. And this prices I even find relatively fair, to be honest. If this is buy to purchase, that is even kind of cheap. kind of cheap. Certainly this prices here for this fine machinery I would even find reasonably cheap compared to like the screwdriver. If you think for 415 you get this huge battery press, and for like 80 a screwdriver, although the screwdriver is of course more usable. And I understand if you buy it from Veer you also pay 50 or something. The problem is I can't even try that. I tried to add that to the cart, because the crazy thing is, and this is what I really criticize, I criticize that you can't buy this on stock. So like, if you're a repair shop, I think even if you're a repair shop in this program, I think you can't order this to have on stock. I think you always need to, at least that is what I heard. Again, as this information is not the most public, I can only hear from hearsay and interpolation, but you need to supply your serial number on, or may, and so if I would want to order this now for my father, I would need to call and have him read that and stuff. This is a little bit, sure, you can do it, but the bigger problem is you can't buy it on stock. And the other, so you can also completely not proceed here, all right? Which is certainly, I can't even take a look now, because I don't even have a new enough phone to take a look. And the other thing to criticize is, also is here not there's spec, why should there a close button? The other thing is that you right now only get this for a handful of iPhones, and not even iPads nor Macs, right? So much to the program. It's still, sure, it's the start of the program. We will see what they soon have for Mac, if they have something for Mac, I guess. But the public outrage, and even it is crazy that Mac Rumors of all Apple fan sites presented it so like even like big mistake, and the presentation, I would not think that they make such a fuss and theater about an optional tool. And for the option tool, I mean, I still think this optional tool stuff, certainly knowing Apple, is their way of making it less appealing to a regular user to even try at home. And I still think it is overkill. That it's optional is certainly fair, and the rental price with this excessive shipping is certainly also fair. If you desperately wanted these tools, but again, it is more negative marketing from Apple's side that you should not even try that at home. And I'm also not sure if they, because I can't really try it here, right? I don't not even, I'm not only not in the USA, I also don't even, my last iPhone is an iPhone 6S, which is falling apart. So I can't even try, for example, if they allow you to swap did I select battery already? Start your order. If you can swap and order a display without the tools. So it looks to me that you can do that. I mean, the prices, also need to criticize the prices, right? 227, you get third-party displays, which I had multiple over the years. Sure, they are not genuine. I think even the display is usually 29, isn't it? It's third-party. So actually we can iPhone, although the new displays are more expensive. The other problem is also, and that is even the bigger thing, that it's serialized now, and that, as far as I understand from other people, because again I don't buy those products intentionally anymore because they are so locked in and serialized, that you can't swap it with third-party no-name parts without the iPhone telling you it's not genuine and stuff doesn't work anymore. It disables features or battery health information and stuff, and that is certainly, or who knows what else in the future they will implement for stuff not to work anymore. So that is certainly all to criticize, and this rollout could be faster for iPad and Mac, and certainly, as Louis Rossmann certainly rightfully says, schematic and stuff. And actually, it's a shame that, and good morning everyone, maybe I somehow need to raise the quality, because yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the last days, I watched the last Warnschau with Linus Sebastian there of his tech tips. And man, they discussed the framework laptop, and they discussed for some 5 minutes or so intellectual property with schematics, and they were like, yeah, maybe force companies to release schematics or like other information after the warranty is over, or if they stop providing support and stuff, and whether companies disappear and bankrupt and stuff, and then you don't get information. I mean, first of all, you could solve this, that you could require companies to put those informations at a notary and the government, that you're only allowed to sell stuff if it's like registered and this schematic repair schematic stuff is registered to be released, for example. But the bigger issue I have with that is that they discussed intellectual property with schematics, and I think they rightfully said, like Linus Sebastian probably said, like you can X-ray it, like the vendor should be required to release information like the schematics if you can anyway determine it yourself. It's just annoying work. You sit there all day long with symbolic picture with some probes and measure it around. But I really wanted to add there, maybe I should write him an email, that most of the laptops are mostly reference design, right? So it's not really top secret intellectual property. It's just they take the reference design from Intel or AMD, sure, they modify it a little bit, maybe they change the audio codec, maybe they the reference design, maybe usually they remove stuff, right? The reference design might have had more optional M.2 slots, so they have a thin and ultra compact laptop, so they remove an M.2 slot. Maybe they want a cheaper audio codec, and they are usually pin compatible for the most part. So it's not like super intellectual property. It's just like they might change some component based on cost and availability, and that is not top secret intellectual property. So I would argue the schematics and even the board view. So if you wanted to produce this, like say you or me or the Steam Deck, they want to produce some amazing stuff, and they don't start from zero. They take the reference design from AMD and remove stuff and change the form factor, change the layout. They certainly get all the tools. Right? If you order like 100,000 or million of CPUs from AMD, of course they provide you with those information. You need it anyway, right? So you load it in your design software, you make these changes, you delete some components, you swap some audio codec, you might add some buttons to some GPIO pins or whatever serial bus interface you might use for your buttons, and accelerometer and stuff. And that is not rocket science, right? And this like the major stuff like memory, like CPU, like PCIe lanes and stuff, that is not intellectual property. And everyone who has the resources to even pull off such a manufacturing, like a Steam Deck or other portable computing thing or freaking telephone, right? They can just get the stuff from the manufacturer if they have the resources to even start this production and get allocation and silicon availability. So this is what I really would wanted to add there, that there is not so much intellectual property in there. Even in the Apple stuff, it was of course Intel's reference design tailored to some Apple stuff with their, sure, the Apple MacBooks were a little bit different because they had their custom SMC in there and their custom battery charge, but that is not the main stuff, and this is not what you need. Everyone from Dell, Lenovo, they manufactured, they were PC vendors from Compaq and freaking IBM, right? Of personal computer. Since the freaking 80s, since the end of the 70s, sure, stuff has changed, but it also became easier and better in electronic design. So really would have wished to add that to Linus Sebastian. This is intellectually, it's like, it's not intellectual property. This is bullshit. And I would argue that through other stuff might have more intellectual property. Think a gaming console, where mostly for not intellectual property like think PS3, PS4 and Xbox and stuff, mostly for DRM, for digital rights management. But even then, people break it, and they don't need schematics to break it, right? You just put probes everywhere and your logic analyzer and snoop all the stuff and reverse engineer it and stuff. And the secrecy there is also not in the board layout, which you need for repair, but in the actual function of the probably custom integrated circuits, and nobody really asks to disclose the inner workings, the logic gates and stuff of Sony's or Microsoft's custom crypto chip there. We ask for schematics and board view, right? This is not what you need to break encryption and not what you need to clone that, because if you want to clone that, you can't neither order Apple's SMC, System Management Controller, nor their freaking custom battery charge controller chips, nor can you order Sony's or Microsoft's system controller hub stuff and or custom AMD CPU even for that matter. So yeah, it's not intellectual property. It's bullshit. Anyway, so yeah, I wanted to point this out, and it was another media exercise, right? I know, yeah, people need to read this stuff more carefully. I should have read it more carefully, but due to the, as I said at the beginning, due to the presentation of this, and this is the stuff, right? How I think, especially The Verge, Mac Rumors is of course a smaller hobby site, however you could argue. Mac Rumors also in the meantime is somewhat more than a hobby, obviously. In my opinion, Mac Rumors also should have done that better, but it's crazy that they have not presented that more reasonable given how much fan side they are. But definitely The Verge, in my opinion, it is not good journalism to present it in such a way that even skilled IT people could not imagine that that is an optional thing. And also, I mean, Apple shipped that to them, right? It's not like, I mean, the title is already strange. It's just like they ordered, it's like not Apple shipped that voluntarily for free for journalistic review purposes. It's like they freaking ordered it, right? And not like they happened to get it accidentally by ordering the battery or stuff. So yeah, this is a little bit, yeah, and that the only thing I found here is that it's optional in this brackets, as I said at the beginning. So yeah, and also they write here they expect Apple would send a small box of screwdrivers, spudgers, and pliers on a mini iPhone. After all, it doesn't matter whether mini or not maxi their iPhone, but if you look at the order side, you could have imagined that, I mean, it should be clear there, right? If you order that, where was it here? I mean, it's visible there that these are not, do they have it in? Yeah, so, yeah, The Verge. That leaves really a bitter taste for me to not, I mean, this is how websites and publications lose their credibility, in my opinion, if they present it like this. There are multiple issues from the title to that, to not realizing what they ordered when, even with my half access to the US website, it is somewhat clear. And you even see that, right? You can click there on here on the rental information. And I mean, sure, a journalist probably doesn't click on the rental information. So it is actually clearly written here what is part of that and what is in there. So battery press display. I mean, if you are a journalist and do that professionally to present that to your audience, maybe you should have realized that before ordering that. And I mean, I don't just order random stuff. I mean, when I order something, like the other day, I finally freaking ordered myself after 9 years a new display. I do some research, right? I read the fine print and not like order, especially if it blocks like $1,300 on my credit card, then I make some research of, I mean, obviously I don't get for $1,300 some screwdriver, spudgers and pliers and glue cutter. It's, yeah, so there you have it. I stand corrected. The program is still not amazing, especially as authorized repair is mostly bullshit. They can't do bot repair. They can only swap stuff like Apple does. So authorized as Lewis Rossman and probably Jessler Jones. I don't watch them so much anymore because I'm busy here. But as they usually talked 2 or 3 years ago, you can't get single components, single integrated circuits, and you are not even allowed, my understanding is you are not even allowed to get them elsewhere, and you can't even stock this stuff for quick customer service, so even the business side of the authorized repair stuff remains unusable, in my opinion, as far as I've seen. And that's the update here. I hope you learned something, especially that you can't trust random websites and need to do some research and read the fine print. Hope you learned something. See you next time.